Hey everyone, this is PrinceBrightstar, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. We are continuing on with the Crystal Power Raid series today, starting off with the Labyrinth of the Ancients. Let's go ahead and hop right in. Looks like we're just waiting on one DPS here. Oh, looks like they withdrew here, so here we go. And here we go. And yes, indeed, in all of this here, we have 24 players in this raid here. Basically, your 24-man raids are typically going to be a little bit easier than your 8-man Savage raids, but it's still going to be fun in here. So, right now we are making our way to the first destination point. That is going to be to the west here. The one thing to note about these teleporters is they pretty much open up whenever you reach a checkpoint within here, so you're never having to reset that far back inside of here if the whole group happens to wipe. Alright, and here we go. Now, in the arrangement that we've got here, we've got 3 tanks, 6 healers, and 15 DPS. There are obviously going to be a lot of creatures for us tanks to worry about here. Almost done with the first group. There we go. On to the second one. Nice knockback that guy has there. Alright, and on to the third group. Now, typically inside here, what I'll do is when there's just a big group going on, I'll alternate back and forth between my flash and my big AoE damage button. That way, I'm both hanging on to them as well as still putting out a little bit of damage. And something else you'll notice here is, on the left side here is where my alliance is, and over here we have the 2 other alliances. Those make up the other 2 groups of 8 that we've got here. And even though you might not think it, you actually are able to help out the other groups. So, for instance, if both the healers are down in a group, you can actually, if you have the ability to res, you can cast over to the other alliance. Alright, here we go for the first boss, the Bone Dragon. Now, the trick with this guy is you want to make sure you're taking care of those skeletons, because otherwise what will happen is they're going to do a whole bunch of damage to you. And the amount of damage done is based on the number of skeletons still alive once the Bone Dragon goes down. These days you don't have to worry too much about it, but it's still something to just keep in mind. Most players are going to have a good amount of health on them at this point. And obviously that Bone Dragon still does some charges and things like that. It looks like Alliance C is almost completely wiped out there. Alright, this will be the last round. And obviously, don't stand in the purple stuff there, or else you're just going to keep taking damage from the poison. Alright. The Bone Dragon is down. Let's take the shortcut. And that leads us back to the entrance. Up next, we're headed to the east. And what you need to do is you need to split your teams up. Typically, you want to throw some markers on the ground to help out with that, so people don't lose track of where they need to be going. And typically, you want to wait until everybody is together. Oh, looks like somebody pulled early. Alright, so we got the Atamos over here. You need 4 players to stand on the pads. The tank is going to hang out in the middle. And that way, the ranged players are able to hit the target. Meanwhile, the DPS is going to get onto the Atamos. Alright, so it looks like there was some sort of glitch as players were trying to teleport in there. But after a certain number of creatures, even the tank is able to join in on taking out the Atamos. Hey, Fizzy! Alright, so C just needs to bring their Atomos down, and then we'll be good to move on. Here we go. Alright, so here we got Thanatos. This guy has a mechanic whereby basically only a certain group, or potentially two groups, can attack him at once. You essentially need the help of these magic pots over here. They turn you basically into ghosts through this astral realignment debuff. And that's what allows you to attack Thanatos. And of course, if you're not a ghost, then you want to be helping out with like these Nenefists and such. Alright, my time is almost up here. But it looks like Thanatos went down. Alright, let's take the shortcut over here. And now we're going to head directly north. Alright, and ladies and gentlemen, on your left and your right, you will find the most unused stairs in the game, and that is because everybody jumps like that. Alright, once again, you can try to do some marks here in order to help out with labeling where everybody needs to go. For the most part, these enemies are just basic tank and spanks, and make sure you take care of the ads. There's that bomb in the middle. We're going to be taking care of them shortly. Right now, they are invulnerable. And you definitely don't want this napalm to reach the bomb in the middle. There we go. Alright, and here we have a King Behemoth. And we are already beginning combat. So, this guy has a couple of tricks up his sleeve. He's got the ground electrified here. I'm just going to hang on to him throughout the entire battle here. Now, the other thing you want to watch out for, and if you played any of the Monster Hunter World quest recently that involved him, he does this Ecliptic Meteor spell, whereby basically you need to hide behind a rock. Or else it's instant death. Alright, here we go again. And this should finish him off. There we go. And with the King Behemoth done, we now have a path opening up in the middle hall. Alright, let's make our way over to the battle. That's a new feature that was recently added into the game, so very nice that we don't have to worry about getting locked out of boss battles anymore. But somebody else has the threat at this point, so I will let them tank. Alright, big thing to keep an eye on for this guy, aside from where he's doing his slashes and such. You want to watch for when he moves to the center of the room. At that point, you need to get to your pads. Because he's casting this Ancient Flare ability, you need to put this shield out by standing on the pads. If the shield doesn't go up, the entire group wipes. Alright, here we go again for Ancient Flare. Oh, looks like somebody didn't make it out in time. Alright, let's finish this guy off. And yes, ancient Allegans were very tall. Alright, Labyrinth of the Ancients complete. Let's go ahead and get our loot here. And let's get out of here. Oh there, Prince. Very impressive, I must say. Your name shall be writ large in the volumes that are sure to be penned on this historic expedition. The scale of this structure defies comprehension. Someone plainly thought bigger was better. According to the findings of my Valdesian colleagues, the Crystal Tower was constructed to collect and store the endless energies of the sun, a characteristically ambitious undertaking. Now, what of the tower's inner defenses? Judging by your haggard expression, clearing out the labyrinth was no small feat. A giant of a man wielding a shimmering scimitar, you say? Yes, that will have been Gleglathon. Not Ekperon. Gleglathon. He was a hero of the Allagan Revolution. You gleaned that from what exactly? His choice of weapon? Well, I am a historian, and I have a certain, shall we say, affinity for the lore of the Allagan Empire. It is, of course, all knowledge gleaned from musty scrolls and tomes. The ancient texts claim that the Crystal Tower is defended by the champions of Eld, resurrected and augmented through the Allagan's extraordinary technology. Chief, you need to see this. Oh, well, there it is. The foot of the tower. What surprises do you have in store for us, I wonder? I can't tell you how glad I am to have you with us on this little jaunt, old friend. Had you not beaten a path through that maze, I very much doubt we'd be standing here now. Well, we do have much to discuss and digest. Let us retire to St. Cornach's find for the present, and there plan our next step. Lest there be any doubt, our expedition has some way to go yet. Alright, let us make our way back there. As we can see, it's nighttime already. And let us pass through the Crystal Gate. And back over to the camp, where we can discuss what's next. So good of you to join us, Prince. Our meeting would be dull indeed without a full account of your experiences in the labyrinth. Take a moment to collect yourself, and when you are ready, we shall debate how best to proceed. Alright, that clears up that quest. For prosperity. The Fellowship of Noah being accounted for, it is time this assembly was called to order. Rambrose will be presiding over the meeting. If you would be so kind as to inform him of your readiness to proceed. Alright. Welcome back, Prince. I have just been reading about your encounter in the Labyrinth of the Ancients. It pleases me greatly to note that you seem none the worse for the experience. For your reference, I have added my own notes to Gradha's preliminary expedition report, and begun compiling a Crystal Tower survey log. The information contained therein will be available to you at all times. Should you have any questions, you need only ask. Now, if there are no objections, I shall begin with a summary of the expedition's key accomplishments. Alright. Go with the silver pieces. In the course of this, our first foray into the grounds of the Crystal Tower, we succeeded in neutralizing the structure's outer defenses, before proceeding to secure the maze surrounding the base of the spire. According to Prince's account, the labyrinth's defenses were most emphatically active. Disturbingly, his report also mentions a violent encounter with a sentry heavily augmented by Allag technology. In short, our misgivings were well-founded. The Crystal Tower was not simply thrust above ground by the chaotic shifting of Earth. It has somehow been reawoken. If, as seems increasingly likely, the tower's secrets should prove too dangerous to share with the world, we will have no choice but to contain them. Short of leveling the place, this will almost certainly involve returning its mechanisms to a state of dormancy. To do that, however, we will first need to address the question of how they work, the answer to which must surely be waiting for us inside the tower itself. In conclusion, that is where we must go. That's rather easier said than done, if the perils of the labyrinth are any indication. Then I move that all further exploration of the tower be delayed until such time as an exhaustive analysis of the structure's defenses has been completed. Master Garland, may I entrust this task to you? It would be my pleasure. Don't forget about us! It's like you said, Chief. We founded the Ironworks to make sure that technology was used for the right reasons, and that means making sure it's not used for the wrong ones. We wouldn't be doing our jobs if we didn't see this through to the end. Lads, well, I hope you're ready for some back-breaking chores. Well, everything seems to be in hand here, so I shall take my leave of you for the present. If I am to witness this valiant tale unfold with mine own eyes, I must needs hone my martial skills ere we ascend to the spire. You'll do nothing of the sort, Ra. Your knowledge may prove useful to Master Garland's investigation. As an observer, I am not, strictly speaking, subject to your authority. Pray do not mistake my intent, Prince. I am well aware that I shall never be a match for one with your innate talents, however hard I train. But that as it may, pray do not allow your skills to rust from disuse during the coming pause. We will need you fighting fit if our subsequent forays are to prove as productive as this one. Mark me, we have not yet caught more than the briefest glimpse of that which time has obscured. Soon, however, we shall cast off the veil and gaze upon the glory of the Allag Empire. And with that encouraging thought in mind, it is time to bring this assembly to a close. Let us all focus on the tasks at hand, that our next expedition may begin all the sooner. Meeting adjourned. Well now, who do we have here? Someone that looks a little familiar. Such a terrible mess. It does leave the door wide open, so to speak. One cannot help but be impressed. I'm beginning to understand the reliance you place on adventurers, old friend. So, this is the legacy the Allag Empire left behind. If my readings are correct, the energy source waiting atop the tower is a match for even the Ultima weapon. Nay, more than a match. A new toy for me to play with. Nero, you should be bedridden. I believe the fates had conspired to deny me my just rewards once again, but it would seem they had a greater destiny in mind for me. So long as my ambition burns, I shall strive to seize it. The dream lives on, Cid. Do not disappoint me. Alright, and just to clarify, this raid basically took place back during the time of A Realm Reborn, and so this is essentially 4 years before Nero got hurt, thanks to Omega. Anyway, let's speak to Rambrose again. Ah, 'tis you, my friend. You are doubtless eager to hear of our progress on the Crystal Tower. Excellent. I'd be disappointed to hear otherwise. Of course, disappointed is the word of the day, I fear. I'm ashamed to say that there is nothing worthwhile to report. The suns continue to probe the labyrinth of the ancients, and every day bring new discoveries. Alas, the same cannot be said of the Crystal Tower proper. We've not been able to set so much as a single foot inside it. You will recall how the 8 sentinels stood between us and the labyrinth initially. In like manner, the entryway into the principal spire, Circus Tower, the Allagans called it, is also protected by technology far more advanced than our own. Sid and I have tried every trick we know, but without success. Frankly speaking, we are at a loss. It is discouraging, but we cannot give up. There must be a way in. And so the situation stands, my friend. Until we gain entry into the tower, I fear your talents shan't avail us. It will require time that I am loath to waste, but I have a mind to set my people to scouring such ancient texts as we have on our hand. Perhaps we can be of assistance. And you are? Be at ease, friends, for we share the self-same goal. I am Une, and my companion is called Doga. We are scholars of the ancient Allagan civilization, sent by the students of Baldessian to assist in your endeavor. Une and Doga, rather unusual names for this day and age, if I might be forgiven for observing, but I digress. You claim to be here at the students' behest? But we have received nary a word of your coming. Moreover, in light of the recent incident at the Isle of Val, I should think that they have rather more pressing concerns. We can only assume that the message failed to reach you due to some mishap. I assure you that we are here to help. Does he have the echo? What is it, Gra? 'Tis nothing. There was a pain, but it has subsided. Oh well, that is rather unexpected. Your right eye is the same as ours. The same? You have the Allagan eye as well? This sanguine hue is said to be a trait unique to Allagans, yet I inherited it from my father, as he did from his. Only one child in a single generation is born with the eye. All my life, I have sought to learn the truth of its manifestation. If there is aught you know, I implore you to tell me. My deepest apologies, but we have no answers for you. Only one thing is certain. Those who possess the trait are bound by fate to Allag. As your eye has placed you upon the path you walk, so too have we come here to fulfill our destiny. Absurd though it may sound, it is the truth. It seems to me we have naught to lose by accepting their aid. What say you? If that is your wish, then so be it. Yet know that I am mean to verify your story with the students of Baldessian when I am able. I trust there will be no objections. Very well. As of this moment, I name Une and Doga advisory members of NOAA. Without further ado, let us have them examine the circus tower entrance. I promise you'll not have cause to regret your decision. Prince, I should be much obliged if you were to accompany our new friends to the tower. Biggs and Wedge are presently surveying the 8 sentinels. The 2 of them can show you the way. Upon arrival, pray report to Master Garlock. He will brief you on the situation. I shall join you, Prince. With Une and Doga's knowledge, along with your uncanny knack for setting events in motion, I am hopeful that we will finally see progress. Alright, so once again, let us make our way over to the Crystal Tower. Or actually, no, yes, to the Crystal Tower. That's to the southeast. And let us move past the Crystal Gate again. That gate is there, of course, because back during 2.0, when A Realm Reborn launched, this particular raid was not actually available, so they had to gate it off. Well, if it isn't Prince, eager to enter Circus Tower and kill everything in sight, no doubt. As I'm sure you've already heard, though, the place is locked up tight as a clam. New friends from the students, you say? Excellent. It's been slow going, or rather no going, for the chief. He'll appreciate the help. If you'll just follow me, I'll take you to him. Ah, some old faces to lift the spirit, and a couple of new ones besides. Allow me to introduce Une and Doga. They are scholars of ancient Allag, sent here by our friends of Baldessian to aid in the investigation. We understand you're having trouble circumventing the tower's defenses. 'Tis our hope that we can be of some small assistance. If your attire is aught to go by, your assistance should prove invaluable indeed. To begin with, let me tell you where we stand. Beyond rises Circus Tower, the principal spire of the structure collectively known as the Crystal Tower. The only way to get inside is through the proverbial front door, the imposing gate you see here. Problem is, we can't get it open. It's sealed by some mechanism whose workings are an utter mystery to us. Having had no success via more orthodox methods, I went at it with everything from a pickaxe to a magitech cannon. Nothing so much as put a scratch on it. For a blessing, the gate doesn't try to reduce us to ashes like the 8 sentinels, but that doesn't make it any less effective a security measure. It's fiendishly frustrating in its simplicity. The only clue we have is the elaborate device carved upon it. A man and a woman, respected. Allag royalty, by my judgment. Precisely who these individuals were, we cannot say, nor do we know whether the device actually serves a purpose. Like as not, it is purely decorative. If you're thinking to force it, save your strength. It's no use. Just ask the calluses on my hands. Rest assured, we do not mean to waste our strength. Indeed, why should we exert ourselves, when the gate will open of its own accord? don't think any of us expected that to happen. The hells? What is this? What did you do? What are you? Piercing the heavens and gathering the light, a symbol of mankind's glory and might. Its virtue guarded by gates impregnable, only to those of royal blood answerable. Exactly as passed down through legend, I am delighted to see. Beg pardons for interrupting your bewilderment. I couldn't help but notice the remarkable playthings you have acquired. Nero, you're still alive? Garlon. If I didn't know better, I would say you weren't happy to see me. But I jest. In light of our recent meetings, you have every right to be wary. But rest assured I am no longer a threat to you. My legion is for all intents and purposes defunct, and my association with it means a tight noose awaits me back in Garlemald. And so I've been roaming this land Eorzea, a regular itinerant. In the course of my wanderings, I chanced to catch wind of your latest venture. It sounded positively fascinating, and so I decided to come here and join you. After the wrongs you've committed, you think us that gullible? If you are suspicious of my intent, it is only my just deserts, but I am determined to make amends. As such a gesture of goodwill, I will share with you what I know, starting with these two odd characters. As you are doubtlessly already aware, the Crystal Tower was the symbol of ancient Allag's might and prosperity. Entry was permitted only to royalty and a select few individuals. According to the records I have unearthed, only royal blood can open the gate. In other words, the Emperor and his progeny were living keys. You mean to say these two are descendants from Allagan royalty? Oh, I suggest nothing so glamorous. Put it plain, they are imitations of royalty, living keys born of Allagan ingenuity. Clones, I believe, is the name your creators gave your kind. Is that not so? It would seem that the time for concealment is past. Pray accept our apologies. It was not our intent to deceive. We simply wished to avoid causing undue alarm by prematurely making what many would consider deranged claims. If it please you, let us return to the 8 Sentinels. There is much and more to tell. Very well. Heaven hells, do you seriously mean to follow us around? Come, Garlon, you know me better than to think that I spoke in jest. What more will it take for us to be reconciled? A gift, perhaps? An Allagan tombstone. It holds the information I just shared with you, and a deal more besides. It used to be the jealously guarded property of the 14th Legion, but it is yours now. I wish you joy of it. I look forward to working together, old friend. Alright, let us speak to Doga then. If you are ready to listen, we shall tell you all. As it pertains closely to your investigation, your leader Rambrose may wish to be present. Before we begin, pray allow me to apologize again. It is not our intent to deceive you. As you will have already gathered, we are not scholars sent by the students of Baldessian. Nay, we are clones, copies of people who once existed, given life through Allagan technology. This is rather a lot to take in. If it would not be considered unseemly, might I ask why you and yours were created? More specifically, what it is that you now seek to do? Answering your question requires that we revisit Allagan history. Pray bear with us. The Allagan Empire reached its zenith long before our kind came into being. In that glorious age, the Crystal Tower stood tall as the symbol of Allagan pride. Parents took their children there, that they might learn how the nigh-limitless energy it produced brought prosperity to the whole empire. That prosperity, however, bred decadence, and the empire began to show signs of stagnation. This decline was made all the more rapid for want of strong leadership. In a matter of generations, the Allagan civilization became a pale shadow of its former self. Its once gleaming cities fell into disrepair, and its frontier lands were given over to the wilderness. Lamenting the pitiful state of affairs, one technologist made it his mission to restore Allag to greatness. Ammon was his name, and he believed that the Allagan Empire wanted for but a potent ruler, and none was more potent than its founding father, whom he sought to resurrect. The founding father? You cannot mean Emperor Xande. None other. As part of his experiments, Ammon created clones of the Emperor's descendants. We are the products of that experiment, copies of Une and Doga. Historical texts mention the reigns of two Allagan emperors named Xande. It was commonly believed that the second was the namesake of the first. After all, such a custom is not uncommon among royalty and commoners alike. To think that the two were in fact one and the same. Aye, Xande returned from the grave and assumed his throne once more. And true to Ammon's prediction, the Emperor restored his realm to the glory it once knew. Would that he could have been satisfied with that. In his previous life, the Emperor desired to bring the entire world under Allagan dominion. An ambition that ultimately went unfulfilled. Having been granted a second chance, he was determined to succeed. Realizing that he needed more power to wage his war of conquest, Xande turned his sights towards a forbidden source, darkness. In order to learn how to harness this power, he converted the Crystal Tower into a restricted research facility. Darkness, again. Seven hells, what is it with megalomaniacal rulers turning to darkness in their lust for power? Well, at least this one won't be bothering us, being thousands of years dead and all. Would that you were right, Master Garland. Alas, Emperor Xande is very much alive. Within Circus Tower he still abides, his ambition burning all the more ardently for his empire's collapse. Wielding the power of darkness requires prodigious amounts of energy that not even the Crystal Tower could produce. In order to augment the shortfall, Dalamud was created and launched into the heavens. On high it hung, gathering the sun's energy and channeling it into the tower below. However, a miscalculation resulted in a surge of energy that escaped into the land. This triggered an earthquake of unprecedented violence, the calamity that ushered in the Fourth Umbral Era. In the blinking of an eye, the mighty Allagan Empire was laid to waste. Yet even as the Crystal Tower was sinking into the earth, the technologist, Amma, now Emperor Xande's closest aide, invoked powerful magics and halted the flow of time. Every soul within the structure, the Emperor included, was placed into a deep slumber. In that state they were to remain until the time was ripe to awaken. Eras came and went. After millennia lying dormant, Dalamud was summoned back to the earth. Its descent triggered the Seventh Umbral Calamity, in the wake of which the Crystal Tower re-emerged. At that moment, Emperor Xande awakened. In his lust for power, the Emperor consorted with darkness and was seduced by its corrupting influence. Even though his empire is now little more than a fading memory, he will stop at nothing to see his ambition realized. It is for no other purpose but to put an end to Xande's madness that we exist. This is the mantle we have inherited for our namesakes, the true Une and Doga. Fearing what might befall the world, the two of them sought to thwart their emperor. They gave unto us their will, that we might carry on their mission should they fall. When we came to our senses within the Crystal Tower, we deliberated a course of action, concluding that we alone could not overcome Xande. We struck out to find a worthy ally. It has taken years, but our search is finally over. It is no ordinary man who can cut a path through the labyrinth of ancients. With you as our champion, PrinceBrightstar, we are confident that we can end Xande's dark ambition once and for all. Well, that'll teach me for speaking too soon. Setting my chagrin aside, I see now why you knew about the students of Baldessian among a host of other things. You were observing our investigation the whole time. So, what will we do, Prince? The world's in grave danger again, and it just so happens you're an expert at saving it. Let's do it. We have our eternal gratitude. Together, let us see the Allagan's Empire's dark past laid to rest. It has been our mission to recover the long-lost knowledge of the Allagan civilization. But what worth is that knowledge, if it means subjecting the realm to peril? Truth be told, it pains me to think that the Tower's secrets may become lost to us. The greater good must ever come first. Besides, no quantity of ancient relics can compare to our friends Une and Doga, living, breathing Allagans. And so I hereby declare a change in Noah's objective. Henceforth we shall direct all efforts towards sealing off Circus Tower. Its dark secrets must never know the light of day. Prince, as you did for us within the Labyrinth of Ancients, I would have you enter the structure and eliminate hostile elements. Suffice it to say, this includes Emperor Xande himself. Meanwhile, the rest of us shall examine ways to isolate Circus Tower from the outside world. To work then! Wait, there is something I must know. My right eye is like yours. Does this mean... You inherited that trait from your father, you said. Know that clones are unable to bear offspring. You have no cause for concern. The Allag Eye, you called it. But to us, it is the Royal Eye, owing to the fact that the trait manifests only in those possessed of royal blood. I cannot well explain why the eye runs in your line, but I am disinclined to think it a coincidence. Though you are doubtless impatient to learn the truth, pray have patience. All will be revealed in due time. My apologies if I've given you cause to worry. I am quite well, I assure you. As you can appreciate, there has been much for me to think on. But now is the time for action, not idle thoughts. Circus Tower awaits us. Your task is to eliminate all hostile elements within the structure, Xande himself included. This will afford us the chance to seal off the facility. May the crystal grant you strength. Alright, the Circus Tower is now accessible. Let's see how long the wait is here. Alright, so it looks like there is going to be a little bit of a wait here to get into the Circus Tower. In the meantime, let's catch up with everybody here and see what else they're saying. The truth of my eye is ever on my mind. Right now, every man of us has a job to do. Rest assured, I shan't allow myself to be distracted. Alright, Doga? Within Circus Tower, you will encounter clones who share our appearance. Though they too were created in the image of Doga and Une, they are but empty husks bereft of independent will. Their sole purpose is to eliminate intruders. Striking down spitting images of Une and myself may give you pause, but you must not let that stay your hand. Though their names do not appear to have survived the passage of time, Doga and Une were worthy individuals. They were not without faults, but they placed the welfare of the people above all else. When Xande was resurrected, they supported his second ascension to the throne, in hopes that the Empire would flourish once more under his leadership. When it came to light that Xande was consorting with dark powers, they did all within their power to stop it. Among their many acts, they imbued us, two humble clones, with their will. Alright, let's also check out the description of this place. Having secured a path through the labyrinth of the ancients, the Fellowship of Noah finds itself before the entrance to the Crystal Tower proper. With the aid of their new comrades, Une and Doga, the companions succeeded in opening the gate, whose workings had baffled even the brightest minds among them. Upon learning that dark forces have awakened within, the Fellowship decides to suspend its investigative effort in favor of sealing off the tower. You must fight your way to the apex and defeat the resurrected Emperor Xande, that Eorzea might be free of his all-consuming ambition. Alright, and with that we will get 100 tomestones of poetics upon completion. And of course, we can still see back here the tower itself. let's make our way back over to the campgrounds. And one thing that is definitely helping to make this whole process faster was the fact that in a recent patch there was also the Duty Roulette Alliance raids added to the roulette system. And so now, amongst the different 24-man raids that are available in the game, you can always be assured that you're going to eventually get a party together. People don't have to individually queue up to actually fill up enough slots to get into this raid like it used to be. Looks like Sid, Wedge, and Biggs are over here. Technology made the Allegans great, but so too did it prove their downfall. And now the Garleans are treading in their very footsteps. The bloody fools. It's true what they say, history repeats itself. While you're off purging Circus Tower of nasties, Biggs and I will make a round of the labyrinth. Make certain that no funny business is going on inside. Nero wandered off on his own a moment ago. Only the gods know what the bastard's scheming. If it were up to me, I'd lock him up and throw the key into Silvertear Lake. And I do wonder where Nero is, actually. Fortunately, I don't see him around here. Unfortunately, also, there really isn't too much else that we can do while we're waiting here. At the very least, it looks like we've got 2 of the 3 tanks that we need, as well as 1 of the DPS. I'm gonna check if Nero happened to wander back into town over here. And I don't see them. Alright, most of the time has elapsed here. I guess what I'll do is I'll see if I can take on a fate while we're waiting here. Alright, that takes care of that one. Lots are filling up here, but we're probably going to need that roulette to fill out the healers, it looks like. Alright, here's another fate we can take on. Alright, that takes care of that fate. Another directly to the west. Hopefully the wait for the circus tower won't be too much longer here. We're taking him down so fast here. Alright, that finishes off that fate. That average wait time is starting to climb up here. Unfortunately, that's one of the more unfortunate features of the game, and just that whenever it takes longer and longer for you to get in past the average wait time, the game will automatically increase that value. Let's see, it doesn't look like there are any more fates over here. Alright, let's take on this fate here. No reason to fight that Morgul when we don't have to. Yeah, so the wait that's going on here today is really giving me some pause in terms of when I may look to actually uh, finish today's video off here, because I don't think we'll actually be able to get through the raid that's beyond the circus tower. So, especially if the wait is going to keep taking this long here. I may want to do the same thing I did last time, and even though it would be a shorter video, have basically finish up the Crystal Tower series that way. And by now, if you're watching this after the live stream, I would have already put on in the corner a time code for you to go to where the circus tower actually pops up. It wouldn't be on screen anymore, although I guess I could put it up there as a second time here now. I think this is the last one we need for this fate. Alright, so this is continuing to go on without end, apparently, here. So, while we're waiting, why don't we go ahead and head back over to Old Da? And there's another feature of the game that I want to bring up here that we haven't covered before. Now, if the circus tower does happen to interrupt this, then we'll just go ahead and, of course, hop into the circus tower. But at this point, I basically have no clue as to when this thing is actually going to pop. But we are going to speak to this well-heeled youth over here. And the quest is, it could happen to you. Do be careful with those. Break anything and I shall be forced to deduct it from your salary. Beg pardon? What is my loyal manservant carrying? Why, a not-so-small fortune in prizes ably won by yours truly in the Gold Saucer. You have heard of the Gold Saucer? Nay? Ye gods, man. You might at least try to keep up with the times. It's only the Sultanate's newest and finest place of entertainment. Thrilled to the sight of majestic birds roaring down the straits at the chocobo races. Pit your wits against your peers at the Triple Triad tables. At the Gold Saucer, one can do all this and more. And if you know what you're about, you'll walk out a wealthier man than you entered. If there's a better place to shake off one's cares after a grueling day of promenading, I've never heard of it. Did I mention that the female attendants are particularly easy on the eye? Wink, wink. Ah, but I dare say you'd rather discover them for yourself. Yes, I'll wager you're wondering just how, in Thal's good name, you can experience the wonders of the Gold Saucer firsthand. Am I right, or am I right? Ha! I thought as much. Well, since this has been my lucky day, I don't see why it shouldn't be yours too. Just so happens to have a spare airship ticket, you see. Consider it a gift from one eligible young man about town to another. Just show that ticket to the lovely girl in the uniform over at the landing, and you'll have a seat on the next airship bound for revelry and riches. Be fairly warned, though, you may expect no mercy from me should our paths cross at the Triple Triad tables. Nay, not so much as an aunt. Haha! Alright. So, we need to make our way up to where that is. Let's hit the Aetheryte. And we'll take the Gladiators Guild. I'm trying to remember now where it actually is. Okay, the lift is actually over there. This is the reception desk for flights bound for the Manderville Gold Saucer. Before proceeding, I must ask that you submit your ticket for inspection. You do have a ticket, yes? Let us hand that over. It appears that everything is in order. An airship will be departing shortly before the next bell. Shall I reserve a seat for you? Let's travel to the Gold Saucer. Okay, and there is the circus tower. Let's go ahead and hop on in. We'll just skip past this cutscene, though. Okay. And let us commence. Into the circus tower we go. So yeah, in terms of the gold saucer, we will check that out at a later time. Alright, let's get this going. Okay, that takes care of the first group of enemies. Up we go. And here we have the first boss. Alright, so it looks like that player wants to be the main tank, so I will yield to that. So this boss does several things, several room-wide AoEs, or at least mostly room-wide AoEs. It also sends these balls out that basically chase you around. You need to look for the pillar of electricity with the same color and plant the ball inside of it in order to get rid of it. Otherwise, you're going to get frozen or shocked or something else. And here's one of those fairly large AoEs there. Basically, it puts a donut on the ground. There we go, that takes care of that. And down goes the first boss. As you can see, we still got more of the Allegans up here. These Echelons here are pretty tall, just like that first guy was. Although maybe not as tall as him. Alright, here are those clones that Goga and Une were talking about that we would have to take out. Alright, let's hop on the platform. That takes us over to this guy here. Now, you'll note that he has all these platforms around him. Those are for old mechanics, and they don't matter anymore because players are doing too much damage for those mechanics to even activate anymore. Now, if you were to get a group of adventurers in here using minimum eye level, that might be a different story. Pretty much the same for these Clockwork Right. You can pretty much just ignore them. If you stand in there, they're going to freeze you in place so other players can attack them, but really you don't have to worry about them at this point. Down goes the second boss. Alright, on to the next group of enemies. Out of the middle. Up and up we go. There is Amma. So, this guy, he is going to summon a bunch of ads. And we're going to have to worry about them when they do pop up. Alright, so we can see that there are some ice blocks on the ground. We want to start to move ourselves a little bit closer to those. Because in a moment, Ammon is going to use a pretty powerful attack here. There it is, Curtain Call. Alright, now it's safe to get out of here. During that time, there are actually players inside those ice blocks. So they're pretty much taken out of the fight for, I'd say about a good 30 seconds or so. There he is, Zonde. You fight valiantly, mortals, but to no avail. Absolute darkness draws nigh. Soon it will be unleashed, and all shall return to nothingness. Alright, let's move into the boss area. Alright, so we got these circles on the ground. We gotta move in place so that basically that AoE doesn't go off, hurting the rest of the group. Now we got some summoning circles here, or rather starfall circles. Those are trying to bring meteors down, and we have to break the circles. Alright, really important here what happens next. But under 3 players, he puts these circles. Once those drop, you want to get inside the puddles that are left behind. That's the only way to avoid the ancient quagga that just got cast there. And then immediately get out again. Here, the fight pretty much repeats. And that's pretty much the fight. Xande is going down. Alright, Circus Tower complete. Prince! You did it! You defeated Emperor Xande! Empires may rise and fall, but man's indefatigable spirit ever lives on. Truly, you are the champion we had hoped for, PrinceBrightstar. Emperor Xande now at eternal rest. His dark legacy may be undone. What are you playing at now, Nero? In case you haven't noticed, Garland, these are dangerous surrounds. Can a man be faulted for exercising due caution? At any rate, you needn't mind me. I am perfectly capable of looking after myself. Go on and finish what you came to do. There are two ways that we may seal off Circus Tower. Either isolate it from the outside world, or cripple its ability to produce energy. The choice of method is yours to make. Before you proceed, however, Dogen and I must needs attend to a task. That distortion, what is it? The power Xande sought to obtain comes from the Void, the world of darkness, our people called it. And the true nature of that power was none other than the armies of Voidsent. Voidsent feed on Aether, as you may already know, and no plane is richer in it than ours. In exchange for their allegiance, Xande entered into an unholy covenant. He would open a gate through which the Voidsent could freely enter our world. The covenant, I'm afraid to say, is still in effect. However, being of the Emperor's lineage, Une and I believe that we can annul it. By his blood Xande sealed his dark pact. By our blood shall it be undone. It is time. Yes, Doga. Finally, we may fulfill our purpose. Oh, be still, my beating heart. For the moment I feared that this outing would end in disappointment, but my readings were not mistaken. Not even the ultimate weapon compares to this. What are you going on about? The covenant is everlasting. The echo. And so Mercidia is brought into the fold. Soon all the world shall be united under Allagan rule. And yet, with every dream that becomes reality, the memory of death grows ever more vivid, an endless void, a rift of light and warmth. Though I may have defeated death, it did not leave me unscathed. Nay, its ravening claws have scarred my soul for eternity. Never shall I know peace. Beings without will cannot fathom my rage, my melancholy, What worth is wealth and power when all must inevitably be consigned to nothingness? If man has nothing, he need not know the pain of loss. Let there be nothing. Harvest more power, that the gate may be thrown full open, that the cloud of darkness come and engulf the world, devouring all life, hopes, and dreams. Let all be returned to nothingness. Prince, pull yourself together. Is there no end to them? What in the seven hells is happening? Alright, not now, damn it. Nero, were they part of your grand plan too? Save your japes, Garlon. I didn't put up with your arrogance to play with worthless clones. Something controls them. A void set, and no ordinary one at that. Goga! Found it. Without them, there's no way to master the darkness. That power is mine. Hero! Shall be honored. I am the cloud of darkness. I shall devour your light and return this world to the void. Damn it. The rift is gone. What are we supposed to do now? As much as it pains me to leave without them, there's precious little we can do. Let us return to the Find and consult Rambrose. Alright. Indeed, let us make our way back over to there now. Alright, here we are back in the Find. Let us speak to Rambrose. All this happened within the tower. God's preserve. The rift that manifested before that throne was a void gate. Of this I am certain. There exist myriad kinds of void scent. The more powerful the being, the larger the gate must be for it to pass through. It would seem that Xande sought to open a gate of unprecedented proportions, one that would allow this cloud of darkness entry into our world. Fortunately for all mankind, he did not succeed. I shudder to imagine what the void scent is capable of. However dreadful it may be, we can't abandon our friends. There's no way to save them. I will not lie to you, Master Garland. The situation is bleak. Though Void Scent can enter our world, instances of men entering the Void have never been documented. It pains me to give voice to my fears, but we do not even know whether our friends still live. Damn it! I feel so helpless. No, I refuse to give up. We must save Doga and Une. We share the same eye, 'tis true, but that is not what motivates me. Above all, I wish to help them to fulfill their mission, a mission whose burden they have borne for thousands of years. And besides, we cannot leave matters as they are. So long as Xande's Dark Covenant is binding, our world is in danger. 'Tis our duty to prevent the worst from coming to pass. Grah, ever since meeting Une and Doga, you have not been quite yourself. Tell me true, is all well with your eye? I honestly cannot say. I know only that there is a memory that I must recall. As a child, my father told me the truth of our eye rests with Allag. The answer eludes me still, but one day I will find it. I am with Grah. However slim the odds, we must try to save Une and Doga. Aye, and that bastard Nero as well, if only to make certain that he won't make any more mischief. You have the right of it. Though we have known them but briefly, Doga and Une are our comrades. We cannot fail them. I shall consult experts in literature both. I swear to leave no stone unturned. Yet know that it may be a while before we are ready to act. I would ask that you all be patient. When dealing with the Void, one cannot be cautious enough. My thanks again for your assistance. Pray rest while you can. But when the time comes to go after our friends, you must be at no less than full strength. We'll save them yet, Prince. Mark my words. Alright, let us speak to Rambrose again. World of Darkness. Ah, Prince, it is good you are come. I have news you must be made aware of. Alas, none of it bodes well for us, nor for Une, Doga, and Nero imprisoned in the Dark Realm. Think back upon our last foray into Circus Tower, if you will. The calamity stirred the place from its long slumber, and awoke Emperor Xande. But you, Prince, you ensured he was laid to rest permanently. That the Emperor had sealed a binding covenant with the terrible void scent known as the Cloud of Darkness. Even as Doga and Une labored to annul this contract, the entity reached through a rift and dragged the pair of them, and Nero, out of our realm. Since that day, Noah has devoted itself to rescuing Une, Doga, and Nero from beyond the rift. Our research, however, has exposed a far more dire problem. The Crystal Tower still acts upon Emperor Xande's orders. It collects energy to open another void gate even as we speak. Indeed, the place nigh hums with energy. We have done all we can to stop the Imperial Edict, but to no avail. Just as the gate would open only for Une and Doga, so too will the tower heed only those with the royal blood of Allag. 'Tis a most galling design. Granted, this was not always so vexatious, according to the elegant tombstone Nero presented us. During the golden age of Allag, the royalty had some means of bestowing their blood upon others. If they hadn't such a technology, Ammon and his underlings could never have controlled the Crystal Tower. We do not have either this art or any with royal blood. Every moment we wait, a vast rift through which the Cloud of Darkness can enter our realm threats to open. Such a disaster cannot be allowed to come to pass. We must seal the Crystal Tower and annul Zande's covenant with the Dark Realm. If only breaking the ladder would suffice. But then what of the energy building in the Crystal Tower? Without suppression, the power could discharge and cause a calamity like the one that destroyed Allag. In truth, we have more than just 3 lost compatriots to worry about. If we do not act, our very worlds will fall before the might of this threat. We know but one way out of this predicament. Rescue those who can control the power from beyond the Dark Realm, and seal the rift shut after them. And mercifully, not all our news is quite so bleak. It is true we cannot stop the Void Gate from manifesting within the tower, but this can be to our benefit. We can use Circus's power for our own purposes, and create a portal to carry us into the Dark Realm. We have heard this is possible from a man of the Thaumaturge's Guild, well versed in otherworldly matters. With Master Garland working to create said portal, final preparations are well underway. Ah, and here comes the man himself. Prince, just the man we need. Yes, our fellowship is indeed complete, and all parties privy to our strategy. And you, Master Garland, how fare your endeavors? Quite well. The device is nearly ready, though attaching the damnable thing to the circus tower took every ounce of ingenuity the Ironworks has got. But it should produce the energy we need. With just a little more fine-tuning, we can open a rift. I'm here to request your presence at the tower. I'll leave Biggs and Wedge at the 8 Sentinels as guides. And do hurry, Prince. I'm sure you wouldn't miss another chance to save the world, would you? Hey, Omega. Well, Sid certainly seems to have a firm hand on the helm. Shall we make our way to the Crystal Tower? Alright, to the Crystal Tower we go. Alright, here is Wedge. Prince, I'll bet you're here to watch us pry open the rift between worlds, eh? We're almost ready. Circus Tower is full of engineers scurrying around and making adjustments. We're dealing with a lot of power, and if a single coupling's off, well, boom. But it should be fine, really. Anyway, you'd best wait at the top. Chief's there overseeing the whole operation. My friends, you've arrived. I'm just waiting for my engineers to give the signal. Then we'll see if we can't open a gateway to another world. Is something amiss, Gromp? Ah, Emperor Zonde's throne. How the mighty have fallen, eh? Once it stood as a symbol of Allag's art and power. Now it's nothing more than an empty chair. Just imagine if Allagan's civilization had lived on, and a just emperor still sat on that throne. How different would our history be? How much further would we have advanced? Unfortunately, there was no stopping Zonde and his ambition. There were those who tried. Zonde's war of dominion left no one unscathed. Unable to abide the horrors inflicted upon the people, warriors young and brave took up the sword against Allag. These men and women became as beacons of hope to those who had suffered, not unlike the warriors of light in our age. But all this merely hastened the destruction. Just as they moved towards Allag's heart for the kill, Zonde lashed out in anger and frustration, as trapped beasts are wont to do. In his desperation, Zonde desired that a great rift be opened to hasten the cloud of darkness's coming. To this end, he commanded the sun's power held within Dalamud be emptied into Circus Tower at once. The act bore terrible consequences. The tower only withstood the blast by flooding the land below with energy. Circus was swallowed by the very earth upon which it once stood. The fourth umbral calamity. I had learned of its cause from Une and Doga. I had no idea that rebellion incited Zonde to rashness, though. Your knowledge of Allagan history is astounding, Gra. Why, a man could study for 2 lifetimes and only learn half of what you know. Mayhap. It's strange, though. I cannot seem to remember where I learned such things. Yes. Ah, Biggs, are you ready? Ready and raring to open up that void gate, Chief. We reckon when this machine's up and running, she'll be able to float 5 airships the size of the Agrias. So just give us the word and we'll start channeling energy into the tower. Good. Then let's get started. Our preparations are complete. Everyone step away from the throne. Alright, let's see what this machine can do. Now, Biggs. Ah, a rift to the world of darkness, as Une called it. Splendid work, Master Garland. We can't break out the mead just yet. The tough part's still ahead. We've broken into the Dark Realm, but the gate's not all that stable. It won't stay open forever, and only a few can use it. I, for one, will remain here to ensure the Void Gate stays open. As will the sons of Saint Konach. This rift is our sole path to salvation. If it closes, we are all truly lost. Which leaves Prince, my friend. 'Tis a heavy burden that I must task you with, but there are none more able. Pray lead the adventurers beyond the rift. I know not what awaits you. Save the cloud of darkness and our 3 comrades, but you must go, for the fate of our world now rests upon your shoulders. This is our only gambit, but I have every faith you will succeed. It will be no small feat to return after you have passed beyond the rift. Make certain you are prepared before leaving. Might I have a moment of your time, Prince? There is a matter of import we must needs discuss ere you leave. Okay. Prince, I wish to speak to you about my eye. As you are no doubt aware, 'tis a trait only seen amongst Allag royalty. Long I have pondered why such is my inheritance. The sanguine hue must have some bearing upon my destiny. This much Doga himself admitted, but what? In truth, the more I learn of the Crystal Tower, the less I am myself. Somehow meeting those two clones have wrought great change in me. I am consumed with remembering something ancient, but ever so important. And my father's words echo in my mind, the self-same ones his father told him. The truth of our eye rests with Allag. Mayhap what I wish to remember, and these words are related. Mayhap not. But I know I must learn the truth that history hides from me. I would see this journey, our journey, through to the very end with mine own two eyes. So I implore you, allow me to join you beyond the rift. You have my thanks, my friend. Now let us venture into the world of darkness to save our comrades and our realm. Alright, so the world of darkness is now accessible, but given the delay that we saw earlier, I don't want to delay keeping all of you here with another 30 minutes, a 60-minute delay. So I'm going to end the episode here at this point here, and on the next episode we are going to pick this up with the queue having already popped. Now, just a quick announcement before we end here today. I'm going to see if we can perhaps do that tomorrow. It's going to depend upon my availability. But starting on Tuesday, we are going to be picking up a new game, and that is going to be Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age. I got my start with RPGs from the Dragon Quest series, and I wanted to play this game now that it's been like 14, 15 years since the last console Dragon Quest game came out. Although technically I'll be playing the Steam version. Anyway, if you've enjoyed today's content, please do make sure to subscribe and click the like button, and also the notification bell to be notified whenever I go live or whenever there is a new video that comes out. I also have a Discord, link to that is in the description below. Thank you for joining me today. This is PrinceBrightstar signing off. I'll catch you next time.